Thank you. My intention today is to share with you a few tools that may help you be more effective in the important work that you do to improve the quality of life of the people you serve. My name is Dean Whitaker. I'm a graduate of EDI and a certified economic developer with 30 years of experience at the city, county, and state levels in economic development. I also am a recovering geek who first computer was a Radio Shack Model 1. I own a Segway along with every iPad, iPhone produced to date. For the past 25 years, I have been wondering why companies do what they do, and by combining my experience in economic development with my curiosity about corporate behavior and my addiction to technology, I've been exploring ways to predict what companies are going to do next. After 25 years of looking, I feel we are close to being able to answer the question. Are you a gambler? Do you play the odds? How many of you bought a lottery ticket in the Powerball lottery? What were the odds there? 1 in 292 million? Been over to a casino recently? Well, these are you're playing the odds. You're a gambler. But there's also the reality is we all are all gamblers if we have life insurance or health insurance, investments, drive a car, fly in an airplane. We're all playing the odds or probability of an event will or won't happen in the future. What are some of the ways that we can improve our odds? Well, let's look at things like health insurance, for example. We could live a healthier lifestyle. We could make better food choices, or let's take the stock market. We could engage in insider trading, and that would improve our odds of success. What if you could use a tool that would allow you to predict corporate behavior? Would you benefit from knowing ahead of time what companies are likely to relocate or expand in your community, say in the next 12 to 18 months? Would that be useful to you? This cartoon kind of sums it up. It says, I want you to switch from alchemy and shape-shifting to job creation. And I think that's about the magic that some people consider economic development to be. But let's think about a way to create a predictive analytic model. And let's think about it and visualize it as a weighted matrix with rows are companies and columns are events. Then we assign a weight to these events based on an algorithm as to how predictive those events are relative to a corporate behavior. I've been chasing a dream for a very long time, almost 40 years. The dream is to be able to predict corporate behavior. Over those years, I have developed an understanding of the process by which data becomes information and that is transformed into knowledge, and that knowledge is applied to an action, again resulting in more data. The interesting thing about this cycle is that it's accelerating because of the advances in technology, and one of those advances is predictive analytics. Predictive analytics is a method of improving your odds of being successful that encompasses a variety of statistical techniques from modeling, machine learning, data mining, and game theory that analyzes current and historical events to predict the future. It has three parts. It has a business knowledge component, it has a data component, and then a data analyst component using mathematical and data science skills. The question that we try to answer with a predictive analytic model is, what is it that you would benefit from knowing ahead of time? And then is there data that is plausibly correlated to that which you wish to predict? What we've learned is the key predictor are change. So we monitor the changes going on inside of a company or within their business environment. What we've learned is those changes, those trends are being driven by a quest for resources. They're being driven by changes in technology, demographics, and governance. We've learned over the time to be able to predict corporate behavior by monitoring these trends and looking at them from a 0 to 3 year, 3 to 5, and beyond 5 years. So we've looked at something called STEEP, which is social, technological, economic, environmental, and political changes. Using our predictive analytic model, we've developed an algorithm that has proven to be quite effective in identifying firms likely to expand or locate new operations. In 2013, we identified 517 companies using our algorithm, of which 112 had projects announced in 2014 and another 81 projects in 2015. What we've learned to look for is the changes that are happening inside of a company within their business environment that would cause them to take the next steps. These changes can include changes in leadership, changes in ownership, sales, changes in employment, changes in products, These are the changes that we follow, and we weight them in our predictive analytic model as to how causal they are or how correlated they are to a company's probability to relocate, expand, and or consolidate. What events have taken place? Those are the things we look for. This is a map that shows the most active companies in the 50 to $500 million sales range in the 2013 to 2015 range. And what we've done here is we've identified that mid-tier sector, and then we've looked at the changes going on in those companies. And these are the 517 companies that we started with in 2013, and then we've monitored from 2013 to 2014 and on into 2015. One last area I wanted to mention is trends. As I said earlier, social, technological, economic, environmental, and political trends. Trends are the general direction in which things are moving, and these are what's causing some of the changes that are happening within the companies or within their business environment. By mapping trends over time, we can begin to forecast what's next, especially with technology. Two kinds of trends to keep in mind: hard trends, which are those trends which are certain, such as demographic, the acceleration of technology, things that are measurable, tangible, fact-based, event-driven, that are objective. These trends will happen. Then there's the soft trends. These are the ones that shape the future. These are based on human behavior or behavior and choices that we make. These are projections based on statistics. These might happen. These are future maybes. By looking at these steep trends over time, we can begin to separate those that are hard trends, that are highly likely to happen, and those that are behavior-based, the soft trends. And looking at the Charlotte Partnership region, we began to break down both the national, North Carolina, South Carolina, and the region's activity relative to expansions of new projects and also the location of new facilities. And what we found is pretty interesting. We've seen that the Charlotte region versus the North Carolina and South Carolina as states for new projects are basically holding their own. The steep decline that started in 2014 is not actually real. It's based on the lack of data, complete data for 2015. So kind of ignore that anything after 2015 and just look at the data up to 2015. You can see where North Carolina has been having a great deal of success with locations. The Charlotte region in between also benefiting from an uptick in success, and then also the state of South Carolina not so much. In terms of the expansion projects, again, North Carolina saw an uptick, as did the Charlotte region, as did the South Carolina, but not so much the Charlotte. This is a concern where we're seeing a slowdown in the expansion activity of existing companies within the Charlotte Regional Partnership. We kind of went back and took a closer look at this information. We broke it out by workforce population per project. And what you'll see in terms of the Charlotte, North Carolina, and South Carolina, for all projects, you're kind of in between South Carolina and North Carolina, kind of as you are geographically. The expansion projects, you're lagging behind. So there's 33,117 people population per project for Charlotte Regional Partnership, but only 2,500 for the North Carolina and 2,900. So we're really seeing 25,000 and 29,000 for the Regional Partnership. What we're seeing in terms of new activity is a better story to tell. So you're exceeding that on a per capita basis for workforce population of both North Carolina and South Carolina. So you got a better story to tell on your new projects. Got some work to do on the expansion side of the puzzle. In terms of the most active category of sectors, and these are broken out by NAICS codes, and this shows the plastic products industry as your top project for new projects, with 6 projects within the Charlotte region, and also the miscellaneous fabricated metal, data processing, warehousing, followed by computer systems design and electric power generation, and you can read the rest of the slide. But basically, what we're seeing is a breakout at the 6-digit NAICS code level of both the new projects and the expansions. And again, interestingly enough, on the expansion side is is an old stalwart industry for the region, which is the household furniture manufacturing business. Uh, and that's where most of your expansions are occurring, followed by the corporate subsidiary and regional um, managing offices. So you're seeing most of your expansion activity occurring in the more traditional areas. I want to recommend a couple books for you, actually a few books. The Second Machine Age, which is really about the coming of the robots and the impact that will likely have in terms of disruption of major industry sectors. Second book is one called Bold, which is really built around the idea of who's making bold move. What's a bold move look like, and who's making them? The third is the Future Smart, which is looking at the future. How do you protect yourself against the future, and how do you prepare for it in a way that will make you future proof? And so I think that's a very interesting read. The Rise of the Robots, a little more of the same, as the title implies. Abundance is kind of a more hopeful view of the future, in which abundance for all based on the advances in technology. Current, excuse me, the current slide shows the books I recommend in terms of if you want to learn more about predictive analytics and how it can help you in your work you do, and you want to get kind of under the hood and see the mechanics of what happens with predictive analytics, take a look at particularly the book Predictive Analytics for Dummies is a good one. The R books are really the statistical programming language that we learn to use to look for patterns within the data, along with that Python for data analysis and the art of R programming. A little broader view is Data Smart, which uses kind of an Excel spreadsheet approach. Two other books there on the bottom that I'd recommend. Information Anxiety is really about the information overload we're all seeing and what to do about it. And Flash Foresight really takes a look at what are the things that we should be anticipating for the near and not so near future. Well, the next slide is really called Your Thoughts. And what I'm thinking here is if you'd be glad to email me or drop me a note, I would be glad to respond to your questions, and we can carry on a dialogue regarding this presentation that I've presented to you today. Thank you very much for your time and allowed me to share some thoughts with you. I also want to thank the Charlotte Regional Partnership for their support in preparing and presenting today. And I especially want to thank my good friends Ronnie Bryan and his very capable staff, including Vanessa, Kathleen, and Steve for their help in preparing my remarks today and being able to share them with you virtually.